Good day. We are the Group 4 and we will be presenting to you the exile, trial, and persecution of Dr. Jose Rizal.
A brief background of the arrest. Rizal was arrested 4 days after the Liga Filipina was established. On July 1892, Governor General Despujol made public the order of deportation of Dr. Jose Rizal to Dapitan. It was mainly because of these reasons. First, publishing anti-Catholic and anti-friar books. Second, having pobres fraile at hand. Third, dedicating El Fili to the three traitors, which is Comburza, and emphasizing in the title page that separation of the Philippines to the mother country, which is Spain, is the only salvation. And fourth, criticizing religion and its exclusion from Filipino culture.
Si Rizal ay dumating sa Dapitan noong July 17, 1892 sa Santa Cruz Beach in a steamer called Cebu. As an exile, he was given the options of staying in a Jesuit mission house or in the residence of his Captain Carnicero. Though through a letter, Father Pablo Pasteles informed Father Antonio Obac that Rizal could only stay in the mission house if he publicly retracts his religious statements and issue pro-Spanish and anti-revolution statements, and perform church rites and make a general confession of his life, and lead an exemplary religious and pro-Spanish life. Well, Rizal obviously refused and chose to live in Casa Real, the residence of Captain Carnicero. In Dapitan, Rizal was closely supervised by a military commander named Captain Ricardo Carnicero. But based on the accounts of Rizal himself, Carnicero was known to be very kind and friendly. This then led to a close friendship between the two, and that could be seen in Rizal's poem in honor of Carnicero entitled A Don Ricardo Carnicero for his birthday on August 26, 1892. Rizal was also authorized to roam around Dapitan provided that he reports to Carnicero once a week in the captain's office. In his letters, he was also said to have the longest debate of his life with Father Pablo Pasteles with regards to religion. Ito siguro ay dahil sa pagtry ni Father Pasteles na ma-redeem muli si Rizal pabalik sa kanyang pananampalataya. Well, regardless of their arguments, the two were still known to be very good friends. Rizal was known to not have any vices except for lottery, according to the accounts of Wenceslao Retana, his first biographer and former enemy. He was known to invest 3 pesetas or 1.05 pesos every month just to try his luck on the lottery. And on September 21, 1891, Dr. Rizal, Captain Carnicero, and Francisco Equilor won 20,000 pesos with a ticket number 9736. He was given 6,200 for his share, and he gave 2,000 for his father, 200 to Basa, his best friend in Hong Kong, and invested on the rest. And well, during his exile, there was also a time when Rizal had a conflict with a French businessman named Mr. Juan Lardet because he once bought a lot of logs from Rizal but complained about its supposed bad quality to a friend. This comment eventually reached Rizal, and furious about the criticism, Rizal challenged the Frenchman to a duel. However, Captain Carnicero eventually advised Lardet to not accept the challenge, for he knows that he has not a Chinaman's chance in a fight with Rizal due to the latter's excellent combat skills, and suggested that Lardet apologize instead. Lardet followed the advice, and the duel never commenced.
The life of Rizal in Dapitan. Paano nga ba ang naging takbo ng buhay ni Rizal sa Dapitan? In Dapitan, Rizal lived a simple and productive life. Ngayon, saan siya nanirahan? Yung pera mula sa loto ay pinambili niya ng lupain. Sa isang lupain, doon siya nagtayo ng 3 bahay, all made out of bamboo, wood, and nipa. Sa unang bahay siya nanirahan at doon din nagstay ang kanyang nanay, kapatid at mga pamangkin. Sa pangalawang bahay naman nagsistay yung mga estudyante niya. At naroon sa ikatlong bahay ang kanyang mga manok. Aspirations and dreams. Rizal saw the poor condition of Dapitan. That's why his goal was to make Dapitan a better place and help the people there. Say of his family in Dapitan. His mother, sisters, and nephew once stayed with him in Dapitan. They stayed with Rizal for a year and a half. At doon din sa Dapitan, inoperahan ni Rizal ang kanyang nanay at tinanggalan ng cataract. Hindi rin mawawala ang usapang love life ni Rizal. Beginning in July 1895, Bracken and Rizal lived together as husband and wife in Barangay Talisay, Dapitan. Nagkaroon sila ng anak, but unfortunately, he died few hours after birth. Natapos ang exile ni Rizal sa Dapitan noong July 31, 1896. At mula noon, he is now free and can travel na to Europe.
A big part of why we consider Rizal as a national hero was not only because of his brave and intelligent way to fight, but also because of his contributions during his time of exile. As a teacher, he built a charity school for 16 young male residents in Dapitan. Josephine Bracken was also said to have also watched over the students and made sure that they did their homework while Rizal was away. He also designed a curriculum that he was followed in the same school. As a doctor, he built a small bamboo hospital and was known to have even operated on his mother's left eye in the same hospital. His services in medicine were known to be free to the poor. However, because of his expertise, there were rich patients who sought after his skills and gave generous amounts. Don Ignacio Tumarong, for example, who is a rich Filipino patient, gave 3,000 pesos after his eyesight was restored, and Florencio Azcaraga, who gave a cargo of sugar. As an engineer, Rizal also helped in constructing a water system in Dapitan with the use of bamboo pipes. He even used a water tank as a reservoir for the community, which served as the very first water system in Dapitan. He also used coconut oil lamps as their lighting system. And as an agriculturist and a researcher, Rizal was known to also have bought a 16-hectare land in Talisay, which enabled him to plant many fruit trees according to the letter he sent to Blumentritt. He also collected a variety of flora and fauna that was shipped to Adolf B. Mayer in Germany for further research, and was also known to have a collection with over 346 species of seashells and a wide assortment of butterflies. Some of the specimens that he sent are still found in the Dresden Museum of Ethnology. And perhaps one of his biggest legacies, Rizal also curated the relief map of Mindanao.
So, injustices experienced by Rizal. Bago pa ma-imprison si Rizal sa Port Santiago, na-imprison muna siya sa Barcelona, and it was implicated in the revolution which was launched in August 1896 by the Katipunan led by Andres Bonifacio, whose aim was to liberate the country from Spanish colonization. At the time of his arrest, Rizal was supposed to leave for Cuba after he was allowed by Spanish Governor General Ramon Blanco, who was sympathetic to him, to serve as a military surgeon in Cuba, where there was also a revolution against Spain. So Rizal was arrested while en route to Spain, and then na-imprisoned sa Barcelona and sent back later to Manila to stand trial. He arrived in Manila on November 3, 1896, and was confined in Comunicado. Incommunicado means not being able to communicate with other people. Kaya nung si Rizal ay under heavy guard, yun na yung time ng Spanish authorities na maghanap ng evidences laban sa kanya sa pamamagitan ng pagpapahirap sa maraming Pilipino at pagpilit sa kanila na sisihin si Rizal. Isang matatag na katotohanan na ang bawat kaso na dinala sa mga Spanish Cortes ay pabor sa mga Espanyol. Kaya yung Filipinos Advocacy of Equal Justice ay tinanggihan ng Spanish authorities kasi nga ang justice system nila ay biased. Si Rizal mismo ay nakaranas ng injustices nung siya ay kinasuhan ng mga krimen at nakulong ng walang angkop na paraan or due process. So, nung si Rizal ay nasa kulungan, naging matatag at nanindigan siya with his innocence. Since the justice system nga is one-sided or biased, ang mga Pilipino ay laging nabibiktima sa interes ng mga Espanyol. The trial that led Rizal's execution was marked by three qualities. The first was haste. Though there was a deliberate effort to execute Rizal as soon as they could, this is supported by the fact that some of the documents that had been considered necessary for his trial had not been obtained. The second was a meticulous observance of legal formalities that gave the impression of legality and justice, and the third in contrast to the observance of legal forms, which was a disregard for the demands of real substantive justice. Accusations. On December 26, 1896, ito yung start ng trial ni Rizal, at ipinataw ng military court kay Rizal ang kasong por rebellion, sedition, asociación illicita, or rebellion, sedition, and conspiracy. So yan nga, naniwala ang mga Spanish authorities na ang writings ni Rizal sa Nolimi and El Fili ay nag-uudyok ng paghihimagsik o rebellion. Because of that, Rizal was considered as an enemy of the state by the Spanish authorities with the publication of his two great novels, and then he was charged with being a traitor to Spain and the mastermind of the revolution. December 15, 1896, gumawa si Rizal ng isang pahayag na sinulat niya sa loob ng kanyang bilangguan. Ang manifesto ni Rizal sa taong bayan, isinulat niya ito dahil gusto niyang ibahagi sa taong bayan na makakamit lang natin ang kalayaan sa pamamagitan ng edukasyon at pagsisikap. The penalty of rebellion and sedition was from life imprisonment to death, and illegal association was correctional imprisonment and the fine of 325 to 3,250 pesetas.
Sa taong 1887, itinarak ang punyal na unti-unting kikitil kay Rizal. Noli me tangere ang siyang nagmulat sa mga mata ng mga Pilipino. Inidolo siya at ang kanyang ideolohiya. Lingid sa kaalaman ni Rizal na mainit na ang dugo ng pamahalaan at ng simbahan. 1896, binisita ni Archbishop Nozaleda si Gobernador General Ramon Blanco upang balaan at utusan na puksain at lipunin si Rizal bago umusbong ang revolusyon. November 20, 1896, nagsimula ang pre-trial sa pangunguna ni Coronel Francisco Olive. Masigasig na nangalap si Olive ng ebidensya na magdidiin kay Rizal sa aligasyong sedisyon at rebelyon. Mula nang maaresto si Rizal at iniharap sa military court, binigyan siya ng kalayaang mamili ng abogado na siyang didepensa sa kanya. Samot-saring pangalan, subalit si Lieutenant Luis Taviel de Andrade ang kanyang pinili na kapatid ng bodyguard nito sa dapitan. Samantala, patuloy pa rin na naghahanap si Olive. Ipinadakip nito ang mga taong malapit kay Rizal at sapilitang pinatistigo laban sa kanya. Sa takot na ipapapatay at susunugin ang kanilang mga ari-arian. Isa na rito si Pasiano na nakakatandang kapatid na lalaki ni Rizal. Pinahirapan, binugbog ito upang paaminin laban kay Rizal sa mga katiwaliang ibinibintang nito laban kay Rizal. Nagtagumpay si Olive. May dalawang uri ng ebidensya ang ipresenta niya: documentary evidences at testimonial evidences. 15 documentary evidences na pawang binubuo ng mga liham, likhang sining, at mga sulat sa kanyang pamilya at kaibigan na pawang walang koneksyon sa binibintang na sedisyon at rebelyon. Testimonial evidences na galing kina Constantino del Rosario, Reyes, Salvador, Dizon, Franco, Arellano, Valenzuela, Salazar, Quizon, Pasiano, Timoteo Pais, mga taong malalapit kay Rizal na tinakot, pinilit at binugbog upang tumindig laban sa kanya. Isinumite ni Olive ang ulat ukol sa investigasyon kina Blanco at Kapitan Dominguez upang busisiin at gawan ng buod. Binigyan rin ni Olive ng kopya si Don Nicolas de la Peña, isang hukom, na siyang bumalangkas ng mga sumusunod na rekomendasyon. Una, ang kaso ni Rizal ay marapat na ipresenta sa korte ng pamahalang Espanya upang litisin at bigyang hatol. Ikalawa, sundalong Kastila lamang ang maaaring dumipensa laban sa kanya. Marapat na siyang ikulong sa bilangguan. Ikaapat, kinakailangan niyang magbayad ng 1,000,000 piso para sa danyos perwisyos sa pamahalaang Kastila. Kalaunan, binabaan ito sa 100,000 piso na lamang. At ikalima, ang anumang ari-arian ni Rizal ay marapat lamang na sumastahin ng pamahalaan.
The actual trial was basically just a form of formality because way before the trial, it was prejudged that Rizal was considered guilty of the charges against him. The trial was held at the Hall of Banners of Cuartel de España on December 26, 1896. The military justice system is different from the civilian justice system. In the civilian court, the jury needs to agree unanimously, while in the military court, the decision of the majority is accepted. Also, in the military court, there is no mistrial. There is no option to appeal once a resolution is made in a death penalty case. The Spaniards allowed Rizal to choose his defense counsel, and he chose Lieutenant Luis Taviel de Andrade, that was the brother of Jose Taviel de Andrade, which is his former bodyguard in Calamba. Lieutenant Andrade mentioned inconsistencies and certain technicalities, such as the article cited by the prosecutor was from the military code and not from civil law. Witnesses were co-accused of Rizal, and they might have testified to save themselves from their crimes. And also Rizal's defense counsel counterstatement stated that the La Liga Filipina was nothing more than a civil society movement. The Spanish authorities believed that Rizal's writings ignites rebellion in the Filipino people, so he was charged with the act of sedition, but he was not found guilty of it. The charges of the act of forming or organizing an illegal association and act of rebellion were focused on the linkage of the La Liga Filipina and Katipunan. La Liga Filipina was formed by Rizal to unite the Filipino people and advocate for the reforms in the government. However, it is seen by the Spaniards as a threat that would form illegal organization or rebellion such as the Katipunan. Also, the other reasons why the Spaniards see Rizal as the mastermind or the promulgator of the Katipunan is because of the images of Rizal posted on walls of their meeting places. And also they have a sort of system called the triangular system, use Rizal as a password. So when I say Katipon Kawal Bayani, you should answer Rizal, and it would mean that you are also part of the Katipunan. The court convicted Rizal of the crimes of organizing illegal societies and of instigating uprising, which led to his execution.
We now move on to Rizal's most unfortunate but valiant event of his life, his execution. On December 26, 1896, Rizal was tried by the military court and was to be castigated for rebellion, sedition, and conspiracy. Pero bago pa man nun, siya at si Lieutenant Taviel de Andrade ay nagbigay ng 12 argumento upang madepensahan si Rizal. Ano nga ba ang mga argumentong ito? First, he could not be guilty of rebellion, for he advised Dr. Pio Valenzuela in Dapitan not to rise in revolution. Second, he did not correspond with the revolutionary elements. Third, the revolutionists used his name without his knowledge. Fourth, if he had a hand in the revolution, he could have escaped in the Moro Vinta and would not have built a home, a hospital, and bought lands in Dapitan. Fifth, if he were the chief of the revolution, why was he not consulted by the revolutionaries? Sixth, it was true he wrote the bylaws of the Liga Filipina, but this was only a civic organization, not a revolutionary society. Seventh, the Liga Filipina did not live long, for after the first meeting, he was banished to Dapitan. Eighth, if the Liga was reorganized 9 months later, he did not know about it. Ninth, the Liga did not serve the purpose of the revolutionists. Tenth, if it were true that there were some bitter comments in Rizal's letters, it was because they were written in 1890 when his family was being persecuted. 11th, his life in Dapitan had been exemplary, as the political, military commanders, and missionary priests could attest. And lastly, it was not true that the revolution was inspired by his one speech at the house of Doroteo Onghunco. His friends knew his opposition to armed rebellion. But despite their efforts, the court-martial unanimously decided for a guilty verdict that led to Camilo de Polavieja signing Rizal's death warrant. Captain Rafael Dominguez then read Rizal's trial and declared that he would be shot the next day at 7 a.m. in Bagong Bayan. Just a quick side note, The day before Rizal's execution, while he was eating dinner, was when he told Dominguez that he already forgave those who condemned him to die. During his final days, Rizal requested that he be with his family and former professors from Ateneo Municipal. Involved here were the Jesuit priests sent by Manila Archbishop Bernardino Nozaleta to take care of Rizal's spiritual needs and some close friends of the man. Father Miguel Sodera, who was director in Ateneo, Father Luis Visa, who gave Rizal back the first Sacred Heart that he carved, Lieutenant Taviel de Andrade, and Father Antonio Rizal, who joined Rizal for breakfast on the day before his execution, Father Villaclara, who was Rizal's former teacher and ate lunch with him, Father Balaguer, who accompanied Father Villaclara and was at their mealtime as well. Ito naman si Father Balaguer kasama ni Father Luis Visa. They claimed that they were able to make Rizal denounce Masonry and return to Catholicism. Father Federico Faura, who warned Rizal that he will lose his head for writing Noli Me Tangere. Here, Rizal congratulated this priest and described him as a prophet. And lastly, we have Gaspar Castaño, who was the fiscal of the Royal Audiencia and had a good conversation with Rizal. After these people's visitations, Rizal had some time alone and wrote letters in his cell. Included here was his infamous poem that would later on be named Mi Ultimo Adios. He hid this letter in an alcohol stove. At around 4 p.m., Rizal's family arrived. Upon his mother's arrival, Rizal begged for her forgiveness and understanding until they were forcefully separated by a prison guard. When Trinidad, the 10th child of the Rizal family, entered his cell, Rizal whispered to her in English, "There is something inside," where he was referring to the alcohol stove. After their visit, an official handed over the stove to Trinidad, who would be the custodian of Rizal's famous poem.
Sa last hours ni Rizal, he read the Bible and yung Imitation of Christ ni Thomas Kempis. Ang purpose ng Imitation of Christ is to instruct the soul in Christian perfection with Christ as the divine model. And dito sa Imitation of Christ na binasa ni Rizal, naglagay siya ng dedication to Josephine Bracken. Ayan, nakalagay dyan sa PowerPoint na, "To my dear and unhappy wife, Josephine Bracken." Also, nagsulat din siya ng last poem niya before his execution, which he concealed in an alcohol burner. Yan yung Mi Ultimo Adios, which translates to My Last Farewell. So, ayan yung poem ni Rizal. So, going to the actual execution of Rizal, Rizal was accompanied by Lieutenant Luis Taviel de Andrade, 2 Jesuit priests, 8 Spanish soldiers, and 8 Filipino soldiers towards his slaughter place. Naka-black suit dito si Rizal and was a few meters behind guards nung papunta sa Bagong Bayan. So Rizal was told to stand on a grassy lawn sa Bagong Bayan while looking towards Manila Bay. Nag-ask si Rizal kung pwede niya i-face yung firing squad pero binawalan siya. Also, 8 Filipino soldiers yung babaril kay Rizal, pero may 8 Spanish soldiers din sa likod ng Filipino soldiers which will shoot them kung di nila babarilin si Rizal. And nung nagsabi na ng fuego, which translates to fire, nagtry si Rizal na humarap, pero halfway lang siya nakaharap and was shot. He died facing the sun. Ayan, Rizal's last words were consummatum est, which translates to it is finished. Etong consummatum est was said by Jesus Christ. Probably nakuha niya ito nung binasa niya yung Bible. And eto yung exact date and time kung kailan namatay si Rizal. December 30, 1896, 7:03 a.m. Not birthday, but time and date of death niya. So, Rizal was buried secretly in Paco Cemetery sa Manila, pero walang identification na nakalagay sa grave niya. Hinahanap ng sister niya na si Narcisa yung grave niya everywhere, pero may nahanap siyang freshly digged soil sa Paco Cemetery. So, binigyan niya ng gift yung caretaker ng cemetery para lagyan yung mark ng grave niya na RPJ, which is yung initials ni Rizal in reverse. Jose Protasio Rizal, in reverse, Rizal Protasio Jose, RPJ. Now, going to an alleged retraction ni Rizal. Nagkaroon kasi ng controversy na nag-retract daw si Rizal ng mga sinabi niya and mga works niya. And these documents surfaced on May 13, 1935 for public viewing. So yung retraction document was found by Father Manuel A. Garcia at the Catholic Hierarchies Archive in Manila. Pero reproductions lang nung retraction nila ni Rizal ang lumabas for public viewing. Pero sabi ng Spanish Jesuit na si Father P. Opay, na copied in verbatim meaning exactly in the words of Rizal, and published in Spain yung retraction document. And si Father Manuel Garcia also copied it verbatim. So, ito yung nakalagay sa retraction document ni Rizal. I declare myself a Catholic, and in this religion in which I was born and educated, I wish to live and die. I retract with all my heart whatever in my words, writings, publications, and conduct has been contrary to my character as a son of the Catholic Church. Kaso, hindi pa settled kung totoo ba tong retraction document ni Rizal or what. Kasi yung dalawang reproductions were conflicting. Kasi yung date signed ni Rizal was December 29, 1890. Pero nakalagay sa another document na ang date is December 29, 1809C. Tapos meron na naman na nag-surface na document which bears the date December 29, 1896. So, ano ba talaga? Also, marami rin nagsasabi na forged lang yung retraction document. Yung mga nagsasabi na fake lang yung retraction reported that the forger of Rizal's signature was Roman Rock, which is the man who also forged the signature of Urbano Lacuna na ginamit para i-capture si Aguinaldo. Pero nga naman, ba't ka magre-retract kung pinaglaban mo yun for an important part of your life? Also, parang it kind of makes sense din kasi nga binasa niya yung Bible and yung Imitation of Christ. Pero ngayon, pagbasa niya is literally before lang nung execution niya. And yung date nung document is confusing pa since maraming nagsasurface na eto yung date, ayun yung date, and whatnot.
We now end this presentation with a quote by our national hero. I wish to show those who deny us patriotism that we know how to die for our country and convictions. Rizal's warning that such great love entails sacrifice and suffering must be understood by anybody who values their rights and freedom in a democratic, free society.